Hi there, I'm Marcus Yam, and if you've been paying attention to the Intel Technology channel, you know that we've been checking out all the great products featuring Intel 13th Gen Core processors, especially those from the HX series that feature our top-end desktop-class Raptor Lake S die. So that's a mobile chip with 24 cores, 32 threads, and we saw a ton of great designs at CES 2023. Now, there's one that we didn't see there from our friends at Dell and Alienware, and we definitely couldn't miss it. So joining me today is Lisa Matrasko. Thank you for joining us, and just give us a quick intro about who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Lisa Matrasko, and I am a Global Product Marketing Manager at Alienware.
Excellent. Well, you are the person I want to talk to because I know there's a whole new line of Alienware laptops based off of our latest 13th Gen processors, particularly Raptor Lake or 13th Gen HX. I'm going to spoil things first because I'm so excited. I love HX so much that I'm actually wearing a hoodie with the die print there. If that wasn't enough, I had one printed up just for fun, just for demonstration purposes. So I want to see all the great products that feature Intel HX processors, and I know that you have one there to show us.
I actually do. I have and I will show it to you. This is the Alienware M18. It is our 18-inch gaming laptop. So we've gotten away from the 15 and 17 sizes and gone to 16 and 18. The M18 is actually our powerhouse. This is our juggernaut for gaming. It's meant for to be basically a desktop replacement. It has the 13th Gen Intel Core processors, the HX version, and the M18 will actually go up to the 13980 HX. So we are packing as much power and performance as we can into this machine with a gorgeous 18-inch 16:10 aspect ratio display.
That's a top-end, top-bin HX processor with 24 cores, 32 threads, up to 5.6 gigahertz. You've got the biggest, baddest laptop packing the biggest, baddest processor. This is not Alienware's first 18-inch, but this is definitely a return to the number 18.
Yes. This is a return to the 18. This is a return to, internally we've been kind of joking it as a return of the king, right? This 18-inch form factor not only gives you this expansive view, but plenty of room inside for packing in as much as we can. We have, obviously, the 13th Gen Intel Core processors. We have NVIDIA graphics cards in here. We have a redesigned Alienware Cryotech thermal solution. It's ideal for moving cool air through the system to pull everything, all of the heat away from the components and keep everything nice and cool. We have a dual vapor chamber that sits over the CPU and the GPU to keep everything nice and cool. And we're including Element 31, which is our gallium-silicone thermal interface material on the CPU and the GPU now. So lots of cooling technology in here. And this 18-inch size allows us to reintroduce the number pad, which we had pulled off of some of our latest generations. So if you're one of those people who needs to have a number pad built into the laptop, it's back.
That's awesome. I want to dive into some of those features that you just gave a great overview for. First of all, I'll have to say, the return the number pad is, hey, you got this big 18-inch laptop. You can definitely use a lot of that real estate, so I guess, obviously this was made for the gamers, the creators, I guess the accountants out there who like to do a little bit of that on the side, who need to use that number pad.
Some gamers will use it for certain types of games. They will choose to use their number pad versus, other keys that may be available to them. But creators are going to find that number pad useful too. I've done some creation in the past, and it's always helpful to have that number pad and have those number keys very easy to reach very quickly.
I am neither an accountant nor a creator as much. I definitely do more gaming than any of those other things.
But if you love Excel, this laptop is great for you.
That's right. This thing can run all your different Excel formulas in
so quickly. So
18. So let's talk about the screen, right? That's a number that kind of people attach to screen size, and screen size is new, but also screen dimension. So talk more about that.
So this is a 16:10 aspect ratio on an 18-inch. So your diagonal is 18 inches, but the 16:10 aspect ratio means that you're getting more height versus width in the system, so, or on the display panel. So you will see a more expansive view top and bottom. And that 16:10 aspect ratio, when you're playing a game, it means that you can see things that are a little further out in the distance and things that may be a little closer and potentially kind of, below, which is great for people who love to play, for example, first-person shooters or games where you need to be able to see a larger portion of the map. We have two screen options on the 18-inch. We have 165 QHD plus, and then we have a 480 hertz FHD plus. So depending on what it is that you're doing, if you are playing more adventure games and or watching more films, you have the option for that 165 hertz with that QHD plus, so you're seeing everything with gorgeous resolution. If you are a first-person shooter or you're playing fast-paced games, that 480 hertz and FHD plus is going to be ideal for you.
No, it's an incredible refresh rate, and of course, I'm a big fan of 16:10. It's one of those things where I was so happy to hear when laptop designers were bringing that back. Shout out to all the accountants there; they can definitely see more cells and and rows in Excel with that increased vertical real estate. Let's talk about the other side, like the things that people touch.
As part of the size change, it allows us the opportunity to make that touchpad larger. It's 14.5% bigger, which is fantastic for people who just want to very quickly, easily navigate around if they don't have a mouse in front of them. So just all about making the experience easier and more intuitive.
I mean, I guess that's a thoughtful touch, because really these things aren't really meant to move around all the time. These aren't like your thin and light 13-inch laptops. But I mean, it's good that there's capability there. Let's also talk about other things that the person touch. Like maybe they have an external keyboard and mouse, as you said. But what about the mechanical aspect, mechanical options on the M18's keyboard?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad that you asked. We actually have keyboard options that are available. We have RGB per key, and we have RGB per key Cherry MX mechanical keyboard option. So all of the keys, except for the function keys, are the Cherry mechanical. So you get this really great feel when you're typing, this tactile response when you're typing on the keyboard, and it feels fantastic. It sounds great too, so if you like to hear the clickety-clackety of the keys, that's also a really fun option. And the RGB per key lighting means that you can customize the lighting for whatever you like. Your favorite colors, depending on the kind of game you play, to highlight specific keys, or you could choose any one of the animations that we have available in Alienware Command Center.
Okay, let's talk about Alienware Command Center. I know that's where users have a lot of the ability to tweak and tune their systems, which is something that most people wouldn't expect out of a laptop. So tell me more about that from Alienware.
Absolutely. Alienware Command Center is our software that, as you said, allows people to manage their performance and their lighting in their systems. We are actually introducing a newly re-engineered Alienware Command Center. It's built on a new architecture, and we have improved the UI and UX so that it's a much easier, more intuitive, more comfortable experience overall. So there are 5 presets that people can choose from, ranging from battery saver mode all the way through, quiet, cool, performance, and max or overdrive, depending on if you have overclocking capabilities. Which is great, you get more information and you have more control over what your system is doing. Command Center 6.0 is going to allow you to really dig into the details so you can see what your performance is by game. Like as you're playing the game, you can see what your performance status is, your GPU, your CPU, your memory. You can track all of those things, what your thermals are doing. You can make adjustments if you want to, because there is a manual option as well. So you can set up a manual preset for yourself, and you can make tiny adjustments in there. So if you're the kind of person who loves to dig into the nerdy little details of your system's performance, you can absolutely do that in Alienware Command Center 6.0. We've made it easier to change the colors of any Alienware accessories that you have hooked up to your Alienware laptop. The X14, X16, the M16, and the M18 will come with this installed. And you'll be able to change your Alien Effects lighting either on your system and all of your accessories at the same time, or you can choose to do them in groups. So if I want to change the color of my headset and my mouse, but have it different from what my laptop is doing versus my external keyboard, I can absolutely do that. And it's really fun fun way to customize. We've added a pop-up overlay so you can very easily see what my performance is, because I can put up a pop-up overlay that shows me what the performance is of my CPU and my GPU, and I can toggle that to see my thermals as well. If I'm sitting at my desk and I'm hooked up to my monitor, I can keep a command center open on my laptop, and I can play my game on my larger monitor. And on Command Center on my laptop, I will be able to see what my telemetry data is. So like, what is my performance in game while I'm playing real time? And it will save that until the next time I play the same game. And that way I can go back and see what my performance was, what kind of tweaks do I want to make, if anything at all. And it's a really great way to be able to manage your system, because we're giving you all of that information.
It looks like there are a lot of controls, both on how the laptop looks on the outside. You said like per key RGB. You can change that to whatever style you want at that moment. And I have to say, all these flexibilities to change your CPU frequency or control how the GPU operates. It's actually kind of paid off, or pays off with the new cooling revisions that you've made for this generation. So could you just, I know you mentioned a little bit early on, but I do want to touch on cooling, because I know it's such an integral part of these high performance laptops. So tell me more about Absolutely. Like the extra heat pipes you said, and also the Element 31. That's such a cool name. Can you touch on those again?
Sure, absolutely. So Alienware Cryotech thermal solution basically means that we have all of these components that tie together that help keep the system cool and running optimally. So we have a quad fan design, which means there are 4 fans that help push cool air through the system. We have 7 heat pipes to move that air over the internal components, and then push that hot air out of the system from the back as it's pulling cool air in. The new vapor chamber on the new laptops, on the X16, the M18, and the M16, actually covers both the CPU and the GPU. And we have Element 31, our proprietary silicone gallium thermal interface material that is over both the CPU and the GPU now to help dissipate that heat faster. So you're getting more cooling packed into this system, and that's ideal for making sure that the system continues to run optimally, and that you're getting as much out of your games as you.
I usually react to things that I find interesting by saying very cool, but I had to refrain from just saying that. Otherwise, it sounds like a silly joke. I was doing my homework on this, and was there a change to, even like on the whole cooling as a system, was there a change to the rubber feet at the bottom of the laptop?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is that's part of our new Legend 3.0 design. So we have taken our iconic Legend design and we have evolved it yet again. So I will show you some of the changes we've made. We've really rounded the edges kind of overall, so everything is nice and smooth. You have, as opposed to having these like harder edges and angles, it makes it smoother, it's easier to carry. There is this V-rail in the front, which is basically means that it's easy to open and close this lid. I can do it with one hand, if I want to. It's very easy to pop open. And one of the things that's really great is that this edge on the V-rail on both the lid and this palm rest keeps it from being a harsh edge against your wrist while you're working or while you're typing or while you're gaming. So it's not digging into your wrist. You mentioned the feet. That is actually part of the cooling system as well. So you'll see the rubber feet, there's kind of a dip down here at the back and at the front, but on the sides, it's full all the way around. So this perimeter foot is a little bit taller, and having the sides closed off means that it makes sure that the cool air is coming from the front and into the system through these vents, but the sides block it from pulling in hot air that may be exhausting out of the sides. So we have our vents on the sides and on the back for expelling the hot air, but these feet help to keep the hot air from getting pulled back into the system.
I'm trying to break that habit of saying very cool, but I find that those little touches are just so interesting on looking at the system as a whole. And I think I mean, this is great, right? Like cooling is so important to making this machine run optimally for creator workloads, getting the most frames per second out of your game. And of course, I mean, the good thing is these things live on desks all the time. I mean, sometimes your laptop isn't on the ideal flat surface. Sometimes it's on carpet, but this goes to show that these little things do matter, and I quite appreciate those designs.
One of the other changes that we made in Legend 3.0, which internally we're calling Legend Perfected, because this is really this is taking that Legend design and evolving it even further. In addition to the rounded edges, we've actually changed the A cover and the D cover. They've always been aluminum. This is anodized aluminum. Again, we've changed the color though. The M series will be available in dark metallic moon with a dark side of the moon thermal shelf here on the front. That's meant to be, it's got a little bit of a shimmer. You can see the metallic finish in it, and it's meant to be just a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit more sleek and modern to go with the shape change. We've also opted for a debossed finish on the front, so the M series will have the size debossed. So we have an 18 here, the 16 has a 16, and the X16 has an X, and the X14 also has an X. This also has this really great texture, I guess, for lack of a better term, on it. This finish is a bead blast finish, so it's really smooth and feels really almost soft to the touch, which is a really, it's just a really cool thing to have, and it looks and feels fantastic. So it really appeals to the premium message that we put out. Alienware is meant to be a premium gaming experience.
I do love that color. I think it's so sleek. People who buy laptops, right? I mean, sometimes you have to think of what you buy is what you get. But the great thing about these large gaming laptops is that there's a little bit of user configuration they can do themselves after they buy it, or even they can have upgrade options. So what are those upgrade and configurable options that users can do themselves after they take one of these home?
So you do have the ability on these systems to upgrade the RAM. So you can upgrade it to 64 gig if you want to. You can also upgrade your storage. There are different configurations available. The M18 and the M16, you can actually upgrade your storage on those higher end to 4 SSDs for a maximum of 9 terabytes of storage, which is pretty amazing.
We've talked so much about what's new and what's coming up. When can people expect to see this? When can they get their hands on it? Where can they find it?
You will see these coming out in late Q1, early Q2, depending on the configuration. They will be available on Dell.com, and some configurations will be available at retailer locations as well.
Okay, so clearly the Alienware M18 with Intel Core HX processors is the complete package. Sounds like you can pretty much do anything you want. Is there anything else that we haven't covered yet?
Actually, yeah. That 18-inch size means that it's not going to fit into a 17-inch backpack, which we currently offer. So we made a sleeve and a backpack. Depending on what you like to do, if you have a favorite bag, you can purchase the sleeve that is designed for this M18. Or we also have a backpack, which is available online as well in our Horizon design. And it is TSA approved, so you can avoid having to take your giant laptop out of your bag and just push it through TSA pre-check or push it through the security line very easily. Lots of room, lots of space, tons of pockets, which I am a huge fan of. So it's something that's designed to keep your M18 nice and safe and still look great.
It's a gaming rig on the go. Pretty much, you can have everything in there. You've
Absolutely.
got, desktop class performance in your backpack that you can travel with you on the plane.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, this is one of those things. Desktop class performance. It's meant to replace your desktop. You are probably going to, keep it at home a majority of the time. But if you really want to take your amazing gaming experience on the go with you, it's easy to do with this backpack.
Well, Lisa, that's a perfect way to wrap things up. I feel fortunate that we were able to take a look at this M18 today, and I just want to thank you, and I hope we can do this again soon.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.